This is 626 to 636 of Baucis and Philemon, and we've just set the scene here. Lalex, telling the story, has just set the scene of this swampy land, and he says, well, once upon a time it wasn't a swamp. Now it's covered with birds and marshes and things like this. But let me tell you the story about how it came to be. And so here is the action of the story picking up in 626. He says, Jupiter to this place in mortal, literally appearance, right? But we mean like a disguise. And the son of Atlas. So we're talking about Mercury with his father, and his father is Jupiter, came. So Jupiter came here in a mortal, in the guise of a human being. And Atlas came, or the son of Atlas, Mercury, came along with his father. And Mercury is described as bearing the caduceus, bearing his staff with his wings. And then here, having been placed, and the context tells us that this really should be de positi, so with his wings taken off. And that makes sense, right? If they're dressed like mortals, he's not going to have his wings that would identify him as Mercury, as it does for us in every painting that he's in. 1,000 homes they approached. So this is another syncopation of that third person plural perfect. So adie runt. So they came to 1,000 homes seeking a place and some rest. And this is an example of hendiades, where the author has separated these things out into two separate ideas, but really we mean one. So seeking a restful place. And 1,000 homes, door bolts closed. However, one received, and so we assume received them, indeed a small one, whatever it is, and we get finally tecta here, which is the common synecdoche for house. So tectum literally is roof, and in poetry, houses, tecta, commonly stands for house. So one house received them, however, indeed a small one, and with its straw and its marshy reeds. A couple things here. This is an ablative of description, specification, take your pick here, but we are describing the house. And so in a certain way, this is a Latin brief way of saying the house had. But the other part I want to mention here is that these are technically singular, but we don't just mean one reed. So it's a plural idea, and often number in poetry is a flexible idea. So one house received them, however, indeed a small one, with its straw and its marshy reeds, but a pious one. The old woman Baucis and Philemon, literally with, but maybe of equal age. So again, ablative here, of equal age. And then this should have a make run over it. So in that place, they were joined in their young years. So a great synchesis, interlocking word order, to emphasize and demonstrate the joining. So Baucis, the old woman, and Philemon of equal age were joined in this place, or in that place there, in their youthful years. And in that place, they grew old. And here finally we get casa. So I've been saying place, but in that house. And in that house. And their poverty, by confessing their poverty, or just by confessing it, they made their poverty light. So they didn't have much, but they didn't pretend that they had a lot. So by confessing, and this is a gerund, by admitting it, they made their pauper totem levum. They made it not a problem, not a burden. And by bearing it, with a not unequal mind. So we have a laetes here, right? Underscoring the positive to deny the opposite. And so by bearing it with a not unequal mind, and so this is basically with a calm mind, or a maybe a not resentful mind. And so here, nec referit, we're saying, and it doesn't matter. And then the ne here is essentially whether or. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you would ask for masters or servants there. The whole house are the two. Or maybe in English it sounds better, the two are the entire house. They both obey and they order the same.